So I finally sat down and watched Daredevil from 2003. Is it as bad as everybody says? Welcome to Marvel Mayhem, the series where I try to watch and review every single Marvel movie and television show on my way to becoming the most prolific reviewer of all time. And honestly, I can see why this film has such a mixed reputation. There are moments that are genuinely entertaining, but maybe not intentionally. There are a couple of performances I actually enjoyed, but maybe not because they're great. But almost every time the movie starts building momentum, it does something completely ridiculous. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's start with the story. The film follows Matt Murdock, a blind lawyer who, after a childhood accident involving radioactive chemicals, develops heightened senses that allow him to navigate the world almost as if he can see. By day, he's a defense attorney. By night, he's Daredevil taking justice into his own hands. That's already a great premise. In the comics, Daredevil is one of Marvel's most grounded heroes. His stories are usually about crime, guilt, morality, and the line between justice and revenge. But unfortunately, the movie doesn't really know what kind of film it wants to be. And I'll tell you all about it right now. So, Matt Murdock doesn't really act like a lawyer. One of the first things that stood out to me was Matt's behavior in court, which is just absolutely crazy. There's a scene where he's representing a client, and during the proceedings, he essentially tells the defendant something like, "I hope justice finds you today, because if not, I'll get you," or something like that. Matt, you can't do that. You're the lawyer. You don't go around threatening people. Even if you know someone is guilty, openly threatening them in the courtroom is probably the fastest way to get yourself disciplined or thrown off the case or arrested. You know, it's a small moment, but it immediately makes the legal side of the movie feel unbelievable, which is unfortunate because the courtroom drama could have been one of the film's strengths. I mean, if it had been there, but it wasn't there at all. And Matt Murdock is supposed to be one of the greatest lawyers in the Marvel world. All right, the next ridiculous thing is the playground fight, which is probably meme-worthy at this point. We meet Elektra, played by Jennifer Gardner. Now, Jennifer Gardner is perfectly likable in the role. She's cute. She says her lines in a nice way. But then the movie gives us one of the strangest flirtation scenes ever. Matt and Elektra have this elaborate martial arts fight in the middle of a children's playground. Just right in the middle. They're bouncing off seesaws, jumping around on jungle gyms, and somehow the children watching are cheering them on. Like, what? Really? Come on, that's not gonna happen. I feel like the realistic reaction would be, why is this woman fighting a blind man? It's one of those scenes that feels like it belongs in a completely different movie, like one of those parody movies from the early 2000s, like Scary Movie or, I don't know, Epic Movie. Now let's talk about Colin Farrell's Bullseye. It's the best part of the film. Colin Farrell. He's playing Bullseye. And yes, they literally gave him a bullseye tattoo on the forehead, although it kind of looks like it's grown in his forehead. It's absurd. It's over the top. It's completely ridiculous. And somehow, Somehow, it kind of works. I mean, it's the only good part of the movie. Um, Farrell plays Bullseye like he wandered in from a completely different comic book universe. He's chewing on the scenery in every scene he's in. There's one sequence when somebody insults him during a darts game, so Bullseye casually puts on his coat in a weird way and throws a handful of metal pins across the room and kills the guy. Like, very drawn out. It's completely insane. But as he's doing this, which takes like 15 minutes, the problem isn't Bullseye. The problem is that everybody just stands there while this guy is being murdered. Nobody reacts. Nobody tries to help. Nobody does anything. They just watch, which is crazy. It's unintentionally hilarious. So Bullseye is a good part about the film, but Bullseye's not actually the main villain of the film. The main villain of the film is Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, and here he's played by Michael Clark Duncan, who does a great job. Honestly, solid job. No notes about that. When the movie was released, Duncan's casting generated discussion because in the comics, Kingpin had traditionally been depicted as white, but Marvel approved the casting based on Duncan's performance, and many fans have since praised his portrayal because he does a good job. Like, the problem isn't the actor, it's the script. Kingpin spends much of the movie reacting to events rather than driving them. For one of Marvel's greatest crime bosses, he surprisingly doesn't get much to do. The action. Let's talk about the action, which is the other problem in this film. Then we get to the action scenes. Some of them are fine, but not by a wide margin. Many simply don't hold up. The early fight scenes with young Matt using his cane feel exaggerated, like he's using it as a fencing sword. Later, Daredevil performs all kinds of acrobatics in broad daylight. He's constantly revealing abilities that should make it incredibly obvious who he is. And one of the ideas behind Daredevil is that Matt carefully maintains this illusion that he's simply blind. This version of the character doesn't seem to be very concerned about protecting that secret. Like, he's openly threatening people in court and he's jumping around in broad daylight. I think one of the main problems of the movie is that it's trying too hard to be iconic. The movie also gives us these dramatic slow action movie moments. There's a lengthy scene of Daredevil putting on his costume. Big musical cue, da 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 da, like slow camera movements. Everything is framed like this is supposed to become one of cinema's all-time great superhero moments, but it never earns it. It feels like the filmmakers wanted their own version of Batman suiting up in Tim Burton's Batman, or Superman first appearing in Richard Donner's Superman. The difference is, in those movies, those moments came after we'd already connected with the characters. Like, we knew Michael Keaton's was playing Bruce Wayne and he was Batman. But here, the movie seems to assume we'll be impressed simply because someone is putting on a costume. It's all like style over substance. Now let's talk about Ben Affleck as Daredevil. I have a lot to say. This is actually an interesting casting choice in hindsight. By 2003, Affleck was already one of Hollywood's biggest stars, thanks to films like Good Will Hunting, Armageddon, and Pearl Harbor. I actually wonder if that worked against the movie, the whole movie, this casting. Sometimes the best superhero actors aren't huge celebrities before they get the role. Christopher Reeve wasn't a household name before Superman. Tobey Maguire wasn't one of Hollywood's biggest stars before Spider-Man. Tom Holland was relatively unknown before he was cast as Spider-Man. Lots of Spider-Man, but my point is they're not famous. Those actors disappear into the role with Affleck. I never quite stopped seeing Ben Affleck, like it's Affleck. To be fair, Affleck himself has said that he was disappointed with Daredevil, and he said that that was the reason he wanted later to play Batman, to have another chance at portraying a comic book hero. We'll talk about that travesty when we get to it. The biggest problem, ultimately, I think the biggest issue, I don't think the biggest issue is the acting, although it is pretty bad, but it's the writing. Characters make strange decisions. The legal drama doesn't make any sense. Daredevil openly behaves in ways that should expose his secret identity. The plot jumps from one set piece to another without enough connective tissue, and it's just scenes of Ben Affleck suiting up. Even Elektra feels like she's serving as setup for another movie instead of being fully integrated into this one, and we will talk about Elektra, the film, later. Okay, here are my final thoughts about the movie. So, is Daredevil completely awful? Yep. Yes, it is. It's completely awful. Though there are things worth enjoying in the film. Jennifer Garner's charming. Michael Clark Duncan, as I mentioned, is a memorable Kingpin, and Colin Farrell is so outrageously over the top that he's entertaining every second he's on screen, but everything else, it's a struggle. The special effects have aged, the script is inconsistent, and the movie never quite figures out whether it wants to be a grounded crime story or a stylized comic book fantasy. In the end, I'd probably give Daredevil 2003 a 5 out of 10. But what do you think? I'm trying to become the most prolific reviewer of all time, so if you like what I do, please like the video, leave a comment, or subscribe. I'm trying to get to 30 subscribers by the end of June. We're at 23, 7 to go. We can do it, ladies and gentlemen. So if you want to reward my suffering, please subscribe or leave a comment or a like or something. Wow. All right. Bye-bye.